This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at the Home of Medicine Medical Marijuana Provisioning Center of Ann Arbor, Michigan. If you're lucky enough to make your way to the Ann Arbor area, you owe it to yourself to swing by the Home of Medicine to see how medical cannabis should be done. Ohm takes a very patient-centric approach to how they operate and gives each of their patient customers a chance to sit down one-on-one with one of Ohm's well-trained and educated staff to walk through their options. There's no pressure to buy, just open and honest information and a drive to help people get the medicine that makes them feel best. And now that they're located at their new ground floor location at 111 South Main Street in downtown Ann Arbor, it's even easier to make your way into Ohm's warm and comfortable shop. To learn more about all the good things that the Ohm of Medicine is up to, just swing over to ohmofmedicine.org, which is spelled OMOF medicine.org. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, September 7th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 566 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story today as we head into the weekend was picked up by Kyle Yeager over at Marijuana Moments, who has a good story up about a trio of New Jersey mayors who have called for the state legislature to address a number of social justice-related issues in the realm of legal cannabis as it considers lifting prohibitions on adult use. The three mayors, Ras Baraka of Newark, Stephen Fulop of Jersey City, and Ravindir Bala of Hoboken, released a letter to state legislative leaders and held a press conference yesterday to call for the inclusion in any legalization legislation language that would expunge cannabis crimes from people's records, release from jail anyone locked up on marijuana charges, and allow anyone with a cannabis crime on their rap sheet to participate within the industry as a licensed player. The initiative was originally undertaken by Mayor Baraka, who has called on other New Jersey mayors to join in as supporters. Not a bad story to open up and read in full today. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Some good news out of Massachusetts, as it looks like the state's first adult use dispensaries could be on the verge of opening up. Yesterday, the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission met and approved 6 more provisional licenses, 2 each for cultivation, processing, and dispensing businesses. Commission Chair Steve Hoffman wouldn't give a hard date by which Bay State adult use dispensaries should be open, but did say that final inspections for 2 or 3 dispensaries could happen within the next week, opening up the possibility that the commission would give the green light to open up to those adult use shops at its next meeting on September 20th. Another good story to read in full. We swing down to Florida for our final top story today, where Nikki Fried, the recently elected Democratic candidate for Florida's Agriculture Commission, has lost her second bank account in almost as many weeks because of the fact that she accepts donations from the legal marijuana industry. This storyline first popped up last month after Wells Fargo notified Ms. Fried's campaign that it was closing her account because she has taken money from people involved in Florida's legal medical marijuana industry. This latest update now has the bank BB&T playing the role that Wells Fargo originally filled, as that bank has now also informed Ms. Fried's campaign that she is no longer welcome to bank with it as well. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, the Home of Medicine Medical Marijuana Provisioning Center of Ann Arbor, Michigan. The folks over at the Home of Medicine are trying to be more than just a great place to get your medical marijuana. That's why they host regular events at their store right in downtown Ann Arbor, like the upcoming live concert and yoga class scheduled for later this month. That's 2 different events there, though those 2 could be fun to combine. To get a handle on their events calendar and to learn more about why so many people drive past other provisioning centers to get their medical cannabis from the Home of Medicine, just open up ohmofmedicine.org, which is spelled OMOFmedicine.org. Big thanks to everyone over at the Home of Medicine for the support that makes today's news possible. All right, time for the Blitz. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has charged a Texas-based cannabis company with a number of fraud-related charges stemming from its campaign to raise more than $3 million from investors, while also issuing a general warning to watch out for cannabis stock scamsters. The Texas-based Greenview Investment Partners has been accused of running a boiler room sales staff that made a number of incorrect claims when calling potential investors. The SEC's general warning has a number of helpful tips for how to avoid losing your investment dollars to scammers, so maybe not a bad one to add to your list to read today. The Baltimore Sun has a good story up looking at Maryland's medical marijuana program and the position that edibles has within its market. That is, cannabis edibles are not actually allowed to be sold in Maryland medical marijuana shops, but the exact definition of what an edible is and what it isn't exactly clear, leaving a lot of legal middle ground upon which customers, dispensaries, and processors are treading. In a day filled with good stories to read in full, this next headline belongs right on the list of ones that you should dive into. Herb takes a long-form look at medical marijuana use within professional sports and the NFL, particularly by former Kansas City Chief Kyle Turley, who says he now depends on a certain kind of CBD oil to treat injuries he suffered while playing football. This is an issue that's not going away anytime soon, so I'd make sure you're fully caught up on this one. California-based marijuana company MedMen just announced plans to raise $75 million Canadian in funding by selling just under 14 million shares of stock at $5.50 Canadian each. New Cannabis Ventures has all the other wonky numbers and details on this. Keeping things up north for a headline, we have licensed medical marijuana company Aphria formally leaving the U.S. marijuana market with its divestment of Liberty Health Sciences, Inc., though the company did retain the rights to buy it back within 5 years should it decide to do so. The divestment deal was worth just under $60 million Canadian and will allow Aphria to operate free of any concerns about conflicts between U.S. cannabis regulations and their more progressive cousins in Canada. Some parents in Pueblo, Colorado are unhappy that their children came back from a visit to the Colorado State Fair with bags provided to their 4-H club that contained a pamphlet on how to best consume cannabis. The pamphlets were labeled Meg's Bud Tender Tips and featured a number of helpful suggestions on how to best consume marijuana. The Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment took the blame for the accidental inclusion of the adult-focused pamphlets in the kids' 4-H bags and says it won't happen again. Finally for today, we have one of those stories that just makes you want to yell things at the television. Herb is back with another great long-form story, this time telling the tale of Dr. Yolanda Inge, a Washington state physician who's been fighting for her medical license after failing a drug test due to her use of a state-legal medical marijuana tincture used to treat menstrual cramps. This story would not have happened if it weren't for marijuana's federal illegal status, so consider it fodder for getting active and finishing off this whole marijuana prohibition thing. Read this story. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again Monday morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, the Ohm of Medicine, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the Patreon listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.